You know what's really nice? To see the industry being taken seriously. So, we're going to dive into a quick little snippet of news about FieldTrip and Yahoo Finance. Finally, some of the big boys are starting to cover on a regular basis the psychedelics industry. And so, we're just going to dive into what's going on with FieldTrip. It's nothing too exciting, but I thought I'd give it a share. Welcome to the first edition of Psyched, a bi-monthly column covering the most important developments of the industry of medicinal psychedelics. We hope you follow us periodically as we report on the growth of this exciting new industry. MindMed became the first psychedelics company to list publicly on the NEO Stock Exchange, created new committee. And we will just hop over to the article. Psychedelic enhanced psychotherapy clinics open in Toronto. FieldTrip Health, a wholly owned subsidiary of FieldTrip Psychedelics, a mental wellness company focused on psychedelics and psychotherapy, debuted its first medical center in Toronto on March 4th. This is old news. We all know that, as you saw in some of my previous videos, but I guess they're just starting to cover it now, so there you have it, folks. The center will be dedicated exclusively to the administration of psychedelic-enhanced psychotherapy. This means that the clinic's professionals will use psychedelics as tools to improve psychological treatment. The first psychedelic that will be administered to patients at the clinic is ketamine. God damn it. Dissociative. You can read. I'm going to let that one slide. Former director of the National Institute of Mental Health described as the most important breakthrough in antidepressant treatment in decades. His statement was based on evidence showing ketamine is safe, provides almost immediate and enduring relief from depression symptoms, and improves neuroplasticity. I guess the best way you could describe neuroplasticity is actually, I used an analogy that I heard on Joe Rogan when he was talking about psychedelics, and I found that very interesting. The scientist described your brain as a snow hill, and the more you toboggan down it, the more these grooves form, and the more times you go down the hill, the more likely are you to slide back into those grooves. And those grooves being a metaphor for negative experiences or traumatic experiences that are the formation or the base foundation to negative emotional impacts like depression and things like that. And what ketamine and other psychedelics do is wipe that track away and lay fresh snow down. So basically it's like hitting the reset button. But moving on, the opening follows FieldTrip's announcement of an oversubscribed Series A financing round that raised $8.5 million for the company. Those funds will be used to execute the initial stages of FieldTrip's strategic plan to build out its network of medical centers in the Toronto area, as well as in the US, with clinics in New York and Los Angeles set up to open later this year, which I mentioned in my last video. But the one thing that I do like about the FieldTrip that they did not mention in this article is that while many of the companies in the psychedelic space are trying to get their research off the ground, they can't because of the legal statuses, whereas FieldTrip bypassed this, just went to a legal gray area. I believe it's Cuba or it could be Jamaica, where they set up their research facility, and they have been successfully researching ketamine and depression since the fall of 2018. So, in my opinion, they're ahead of the game. But only time will tell. And from some of the chats I've had with some of my friends about this space, cutthroat. As always, I'm going to leave you with have a good day. Peace.